in cui Roma aveva Cesare, Virgilio ed Augusto.
Rome was no longer a city, it was a wound. Buildings stood like skeletons, streets carried the silence of fear, and beneath the occupation of Nazi forces, survival itself became an act of resistance. In 1945, while Europe was still emerging from the ashes of war, a filmmaker named Roberto Rossellini took a camera into the ruins of Italy and changed cinema forever. This was not escapism. This was not propaganda. This was Rome, open city.
La città verrà divisa in 14 zone. Il piano Schröder che noi abbiamo già applicato in diverse città europee permette il rastrellamento scientifico di grandi masse di uomini con l'impiego di minime forze.
By the end of World War II, Italy had collapsed economically, politically, and morally. Fascism had left behind a fractured society haunted by poverty, unemployment, and devastation. The glamorous artificiality of studio cinema suddenly felt dishonest in the face of real suffering.
London calling Italy. La voce di Londra.
Oh Gesù!
Ricci! C'è Ricci? Ricci! Ricci! Ricci!
Italian filmmakers began searching for something different, something closer to ordinary people, closer to reality itself. And from this crisis, Italian neorealism was born. Unlike the polished cinema of the fascist era, neorealism embraced imperfection. Real streets replaced studio sets. Non-professional actors appeared beside trained performers. Natural light, damaged buildings, and everyday life became part of the cinematic language. Cinema was no longer trying to escape reality, it was finally confronting it. Roberto Rossellini began filming Rome, open city during the final months of the war itself. There were almost no functioning studios left in Rome. Equipment was scarce. Film stock was difficult to obtain. Rossellini borrowed money wherever he could. Different types of film negatives were patched together simply to complete the production. But these limitations became the film's greatest strength. Rossellini did not recreate war. He filmed inside its remains. The city itself became a character. Broken walls, Crowded apartments, church corridors, and devastated streets carried the emotional weight of the story. At the center of the film is Giorgio Manfredi, a communist resistance leader hiding from the Gestapo. Through him, Rossellini explores a network of ordinary Italians resisting Nazi occupation.
Datemi i nomi dei generali badogliani, mettetemi in condizioni di arrestarli e io garantisco la libertà a voi e l'immunità agli uomini del vostro partito. Dunque, signor Ferraris?
Workers, priests, women, children. Resistance in Rome, Open City does not look heroic in a conventional cinematic sense. It looks exhausted, hungry, fragile, yet deeply human. One of the film's most devastating moments arrives when Pina runs after the truck, carrying her fiancé Francesco. She runs through the street screaming his name, before being shot dead in front of everyone. The scene lasts only moments, but it became one of the most iconic deaths in cinema history, not because it is stylized, but because it feels horrifyingly real. What made this film revolutionary was not only its subject matter, it was the way Rossellini captured reality itself. The film often feels closer to documentary than fiction. Crowds gathering outside bakeries, children wandering through destroyed streets, elderly women watching silently from windows. Small details transform the film into a living portrait of post-war Italy.
Ecco, così pesa meno.
Veramente non dovrei, ma c'ho una fame arretrata. Sora Pina, ma che dite voi? Esisteranno veramente questi americani?
Pare di sì.
Even technically, the film carried the texture of reality. Different film stocks created rough visual inconsistencies that unintentionally added authenticity. Shadows appear uneven. Lighting changes abruptly. Grain covers the image. These imperfections became the aesthetic foundation of Neorealism. One of the film's most fascinating elements is its portrayal of ideological unity. In fascist Italy, communists and Catholics were often viewed as opposites. But in Rome, Open City, both stand together against oppression. Francesco is a communist. Pina is deeply connected to Catholic tradition, and Don Pietro, the priest, becomes an active supporter of the resistance. Rossellini suggests that in moments of national catastrophe, ideological divisions become secondary to human solidarity. Even the Nazis are not portrayed as simplistic monsters. In one scene, a German officer drunkenly admits the absurdity of the war itself. We are not the superior race, he says. It is a brief moment of psychological complexity rarely seen in war films of the time.
Wenn schweigen sollte, würde es bedeuten, dass einen Italiener einen Deutschen gleich wäre. Es würde bedeuten, dass es keinen Unterschied zwischen dem Blut einer Sklavin und der Herrenrasse gäbe.
Marcello! Marcello!
Perhaps the emotional core of Rome, open city, lies in its women, especially Pina and Marina.
Ti piace? Provala.
Pina represents resilience, strength, survival. She embodies a new image of the Italian woman emerging from the collapse of fascism.
Sì, Francesco. Ma io non ho paura. Mai. Ma lei come la conosce, Lauretta? Oh, scusi tanto, sono indiscreta.
No, Lauretta è molto amica di una ragazza che io conosco.
Chi, Marina?
Ah, la conosci?
Da quando è nata.
Marina, on the other hand, is consumed by fear, addiction, and despair. Her betrayal is not presented as pure evil, but as the psychological consequence of war and social collapse. Through these women, Rossellini portrays a society struggling between moral resistance and emotional destruction.
Raus! Raus! Bring den Karren weg! Schnell, alle raus!
Einen Moment bitte.
At the end of the film, Don Pietro is executed outside the city while children watch in silence. Then the children begin walking back toward Rome, slowly, quietly. It is one of the most haunting endings in film history, because the film offers no triumph, no clean resolution, only uncertainty. Yet, within that uncertainty lies the spirit of Italian neorealism itself, a cinema born from ruins, a cinema searching for humanity after catastrophe. And through Rome, open city, cinema would never look at reality the same way again.